So welcome, Robert, and thank you for joining me here at BusyHive PODCAST.
Thanks for having me on.
So here at BusyHive, we really like to start every show with our guest's favorite quote. It's our way to get everybody motivated and excited for the rest of the show. So can you tell us, what's your favorite quote and why?
I would say my favorite quote would have to be do things that do not scale. The reason why it's my favorite quote is because most of us are small businesses, and that should be our advantage, not our weakness. And doing things that can't scale are things that will give you the edge over your other businesses. Things like spending the time investing it onto follow up, one-on-one conversation with clients, things that will teach you what your business should do. Those are things that you can do as a small business owner to help yourself grow and learn from others. And that's why that's my favorite quote is do things that can't scale, because that is your advantage.
So can you give us a little bit more examples? Because I'm really curious.
Sure. Do things that you can't scale. So for example, if you're a small business and you see maybe 20, 30 guests a week, maybe after every visit, put it on your calendar to call them 2 days later, see if they enjoyed their service, see if they had any questions. Especially with massage, sometimes somebody wakes up 2 days later after a massage and they feel they don't feel what they were hoping for, and then they have questions. And if you spend that time to follow up 2 days later, now you did something that you can't scale, because these large corporations, especially in America, like Massage Envy, they can't do this. They have too many people coming through the doors, too many visitors. That's the little stuff. Even another example is take the extra second to remember the customer's name. So, for example, at our spa, we would see a lot of clients, but once somebody became a regular 2 or 3 visits, I went out of my way to make sure that I would remember every client's name. So when they walk through the door, it's not, "Hi, are you here for an appointment?" It's, "Hey, Steve, how are you? How's your life doing?" Those little things, you can't make them scalable. You can't replicate it to 1,000 people, but you can do it yourself, and that is where you become better.
And that's what makes your business much better. As you mentioned, the little things, the more personal things, as remember the name, remember the birthday, calling the names, buying them little things just to kind of, for a reminder or something. And that's always makes your treatments, your business much better, more personal. So
Of course.
exactly, it's not only as a business, but community of what you're creating around it as
Absolutely.
a part of it. So thank you for sharing that. So in your mind, can you share us one of the challenges as a new business when you're starting up?
Well, one of the biggest challenges, I think, is knowing what to do, when to do it. All too often we get caught up with, and all too often we get bombarded with 1,000 different choices. And I think it's most important, it's to just set your goals and figure out how to get them. And one of my favorite things to do is actually, sit down, think 3 months from now, where do I want to be? And, when and an example of a single therapist, if I have 10 appointments a month right now and I want to get to 20, that's just an extra one client every other day. I don't need to do a lot of things with advertising or marketing. I need to do little things. And so once you can figure out where your goals are, then you can figure out how to work backwards and how to get to them. And I think that's the biggest challenge for most new businesses is an information overload of not knowing what to do, how to do it, trying to spend all this time trying to figure it out, when in reality you don't need everything. You just need maybe a small portion that will help you get to that next step.
Yeah, exact. In new business, new clinic, and so on, you have marketing, business, this setup, that setup. It's a lot, as you said, is overall, and especially for us therapists. We are big-hearted people. We have this superpower, but we're not business-minded. So that's, when you talk to the therapist about advertising, marketing, and so on, everyone is like, no, because they scared of it, because it's something they think is quite a lot of things, and everyone thinks you have to do this straight away. No,
No.
focus one thing at a time. Try to invest this one. And as you said, I really like that. Put your goals down and work your way backwards. Which not many people many times just putting the massive goal in there and nothing in the middle, and they just, looking at it and they're just petrified because, oh my God, I don't know what to do.
And that's the thing, it's one appointment extra a day. If it brings $100 to the business, that's 3,000 a month of extra revenue. That's just one appointment a day. You said if you're doing 5,000 a month right now and you want to get to 8, that's just an extra appointment a day. That's not an extra appointment a day isn't a big number. 3,000 is a big number.
Yeah.
And so once you can break down these numbers and make them simple for yourself, then everything else becomes easier.
Very true. So here at BusyHive, you really focus on the beginning of the journey because we can really, really learn from that. So can you tell us, how did you get started and how did you get to the point where are you today?
So my story goes back quite a bit. When I was in my 20s, I did business-to-business sales. This was right when Groupon was coming out. And I started working for a company called KGB Deals. And I absolutely loved working with day spas. They were my favorite business to work with. And I got to watch and learn, and they taught me a lot. And some did really good with Groupon, and some did really bad.
What was the best part from working? The free treatments?
No, I never actually got a free treatment. I don't do treatments. It's really strange. I'm always too busy, and my therapists hate me because I rarely will go see them for a treatment. But I was always on the business side. And in 2013, I got a phone call, and it was in September or October, that I was getting laid off. The market was crashing for daily deals. They decided my market wasn't going to do any good. So I was on a Thursday. And then on Monday, my wife got laid off.
Oh, okay.
So we went from 125,000, 140,000 a year to nothing in 72 hours. It was the biggest eye-awakening experience in my life. And it was at that moment that we decided that we weren't going to work for anybody else. And we just wanted to work for ourselves. And we did a couple things for about a year. Some good, some bad. And we were, she was kind of getting ready to give up on becoming an entrepreneur, business owner. And she decided she wanted to go back to skincare. And I was like, I just want to do marketing. She's like, I want to do skincare. And so we looked for businesses for sale. We used the last of our savings, and we bought Mosaic. Mosaic was a business ready to close its doors, to say the least. It was losing a lot of money. It had one therapist. It had a great location, 10-year history, no bad reputation. Just the owners didn't know what to do with the money. They were spending a lot of money on things that weren't necessary. So when we looked at the books,
so can you explain what is Mosaic?
Mosaic was my day spa. So in 2014, my wife and I bought it. It was doing about $5,000 in revenue, and over the next 3.5 years, we took it from $5,000 to $75,000. And then in December of 2017, we decided that, especially my wife, that she needed to be closer to her family. So we decided that we had to sell the business, and now we're actually living in Spain.
Wow, what a story! So, when you find out that you get laid off with the wife, tell me about this moment, because it is really, everyone is scared of this one. And when it happened, what was going through your mind? How, because not many times people just get depressed or they just don't know what to do. But you actually just stepped up and just, let's just move forward. Let's do something.
Well, that's the thing. My whole family's always been in business. So for me, it's always been something that was sitting in the back of my head. And I do have that advantage. But the truth is, when I was a salesperson, I was the best salesperson in that company. And because of factors outside of my control, my market was the smallest market. Even though I had the most deals, the most clients, the most repeat business, most everything, at the end of the day, the market said that my market was the cheapest and people wouldn't spend money. And so it was very frustrating for me to spend 2 years to build up my own book of business in sales, because it's just like massage, it's a book of business, only for somebody to say, poof, it's gone. You don't get to touch it anymore. And it was kind of at that moment where, we realized that, hey, you know what, we have to try this. We don't want somebody to control our lives anymore. Both me and my wife love working. We love working hard. We love to put in the work. And we said, why don't we try and do it for ourselves? Strangely, she came from Poland, and when she came here, she didn't speak any English. She started in her assisted living facility, and she started as a in the kitchen. And within 10 years, she became the manager of the facility. And just like that, again, same thing disappeared. So there's a lot of things that were happening. We had to change our life a lot. Not gonna lie, it wasn't easy. We went from a comfortable six-figure lifestyle to nothing overnight. So we had to sell both of our cars. We had to cut back on our cable. We had to go find, cut back on one phone and, do everything that we can just to
delete the
cut all the
Netflix
costs.
subscription.
Yeah, cut cable. And actually that caused us to live a little bit more frugal and a little bit wiser with our money, because the truth is we got too comfortable.
Yeah.
We got too comfortable. We thought we needed everything in our house, and when the reality is, oh, you don't really need this payment, you don't need that payment, and wow, I was wasting $3,000 a month on I don't know what.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it goes back to it. It's the simple motivation was there was a quote my father once told me, and it was more of a story, but he got into an argument with a guy, and the guy said to him, he said, well, at least I know I have a job. And my dad goes, no, you don't have a job. You don't know you have that. I know I have something to do because I control when that door opens and when that door closes. You don't have control over that. I do. And that moment kind of always stuck in my head. It's like, you know what? If I'm going to work hard and I'm going to do what I have to do to get a business that grows, I want to control that door. I don't want you to control it if you're my boss. I want to know when I give up, I'm done, I've tried my hardest, that I'm okay to close that door. But I don't want you to close that door for me.
That's why I love to, being exactly entrepreneur, just working for yourself, being self-employed, because you can choose. You still have to work hard, but you can choose your holidays when you close and when you open the doors, which is amazing. So thank you for sharing that. So let's move to the part when we exactly choose the topic of the conversation, really relate to our guests. So let's talk, you explained a little bit more how did you get into the spa business? How did you decide, to buy this spa?
Well, I mean, the reality is to be honest, I don't even know why I bought the spa. That's the strange thing, because when you looked at the numbers, the business was losing $8,000 a month. After I bought the business, I didn't have $8,000 in my bank account. But something told me that, the location was right. The location was great. The history was there. It had potential. And when I looked at it, again, going back to it, my wife wanted to do aesthetics. My dream was always to do marketing. I love marketing. I love growing businesses. I love figuring out ways to make businesses bigger. And she wanted to do the service side. And this happened to be primarily a skincare business. So it was a perfect fit. At the same time, when we looked at the books, there was a lot of wasted spend. There was $2,000 going to a receptionist who you have one employee. You don't need a receptionist at that point. If you're the owner and you have a therapist, then you can do most of that work. There was $2,500 going to a manager. The owner's daughter was getting paid $2,500. So off this $8,000, there was probably about $6,000 to $7,000 that I knew I could cut off day one. And then after that, I figured, okay, well, that's just $2,000 more. Well, this business has a lot of clients. I'm sure I can figure out something to get $2,000 in business. Yeah. And we did it. I mean, it took us about a month and a half, and we were to break even.
Oh, brilliant! So what sort of services did you use? What sort of when you buy the business, what was there?
What services do we offer?
Yeah, what services do you offer in spa?
So when we bought the business in March of 2014, it was strictly skincare. So it did only facials, back facials, chemical peels, and things like that. However, I realized right off the bat, well, if we already have massage tables, because they're great hydraulic massage tables, really high-end massage tables, why not offer massages? Took us about 3 months to get the permits and everything like that. So in May or June of that year, we launched with massages. And then from there, we really longer term, I'll kind of go into that for a second. Longer term, we really ended up just developing our own niche, which was becoming an urban retreat where being in Scottsdale, Arizona, we have a lot of tourists. A lot of people come in the winter because it's nice, warm weather, beautiful climate. And so there was an opening in the market where high-end spas were charging $150 to $175 an hour. And then we had those spas, the ones that charge $30, $40. And there was no place where somebody could come as a tourist and really enjoy a day at the spa, relax, get a massage, get a facial, do a package. And by the time we finished up owning the business, we really became well known for two services, massages and facials. All of our massages were an hour and a half, and they were customized to you. So whatever you wanted in that hour and a half, therapist would do it. And then the facials were the same way. They were customized signature facials that were built to give you results. And both of them had different add-ons to customize it to yourself to make it a little bit better. But our menu was more or less, I want to say like a Chipotle menu. You know, pick your massage, pick your facial, and you said very simple, very simple.
Okay, so you already mentioned a couple of the challenges when you bought the business, but you brought up any other challenges when you start up there?
Oh, there was a lot. I mean, I think the hardest part was getting the momentum. I'll share one story. There was a point where we came into our, and this is actually for most people. If you're hitting a certain point in revenue, you want to see what's going on. And we moved into a new location, a bigger location, and we were approaching the season, and I was supposed to start seeing increases in business, but the numbers weren't happening. And I kind of sat there one day and I wondered what's going on. And the reality is it's not that the numbers weren't increasing. It's I didn't have the therapist. So a lot of times if you're trying to grow your business, this is one of the biggest things that people sometimes miss is you sometimes accidentally put a bottleneck on your own business, where if you're trying to grow your business and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I'm hitting 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Why am I not growing? Why am I not growing? If you sit back and look how many appointments you're actually not taking in because you don't have the therapist, or how many appointments you're not taking in because your receptionist is slow, or whatever problem there is in your business that's holding you back. And most of the time you're just short on therapists. If you realize that you're turning down 1 or 2 appointments a day, that's 3,000 to 6,000.
Yeah,
that's right there is your unlock. And that was a big moment in Mosaic. We went from the story I was telling you about. We hit $30,000 of revenue 4 months in a row. And up until that point, every month I was increasing at least 15 to 20%. So for me to hit it 4 months in a row, I was really worried that something was happening that was wrong within the business. And somebody just told me that. Somebody said, how many appointments are you turning away? And it was that day that I had my front desk start writing down all these numbers. And when I saw those numbers, I almost cried because I think it was a Saturday and I turned down 14 massages.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's $1,200 on a single day that I turned down. And then when I looked at the month's total, I think it was around 100 appointments that I turned down, like averaging 3 appointments a day. So that was like $8,000, $10,000 a month. That was just like, I didn't have enough therapists. And it's not that I didn't have the rooms. I just didn't have enough therapists. And I didn't sit there and think, you know what, maybe I need more therapists because I only thought it was 1 appointment a day. But when I actually put the numbers down on the paper and I tallied each time I turned down an appointment, I looked at the number and I was like, oh, wow, that's bad.
So did you, through all this journey, through exactly buying a spa, joining a spa, did you had any doubts at any point? And what keeps you motivated? What keeps you going?
Yeah.
Because, as a business, as an entrepreneur, the line of business up and down. There's ups and downs, obviously. So did you have any doubts, and what keeps you motivated?
I mean, there's two stories that, I mean, you can go on Reddit. I put up a post 3 years ago. It was my first post ever. I look back at it and I'm just like, wow. We were bad. When we bought the business, we had a 2-room suite and our lease was going to go up 100%. So we started looking for places, and I negotiated a great deal on a 3,000 square foot place, which was 3 times bigger than I needed. Don't even know why I took a leap of faith on it. Something said, hey, again, just do it. And we're about 3 months into it, into this new location, and I can't get more business, and I'm struggling. And to be honest, I was being a little bit lazy. And I put up that post on Reddit, and I made myself self-accountable. You know, it was one of the best things I ever did, because all of a sudden I felt like I had to tell Reddit that I'm going to be doing good. And so I pushed myself harder. But there comes a lot of times, you know, that was year 1 in the new location, and year 2. So this is like a moment where you just kind of sit back and go, what just happened? So we're in the middle of our busy season, and we walk into our spa. It's a Tuesday morning, and I hear the water running, and I'm going, what's water running? What's happening here? So first thing that comes to my mind is some therapist left the sink on all night, and I'm going to have a high water bill. No, the sink actually broke in the middle of the night, and we walked into 6 inches of water, $47,000 in damages, and we had to close for 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
But most people, or some people, not most, some people at this point would just crumble and just say, oh, well, I give up.
Yeah.
Well, we took that 3 weeks and we sat down and said, what can we do in 3 weeks that we can't normally do, because we're always running, we're always on the go, we're always trying to grow this business. We had a brand new website rebuilt, so we spent some time on that so we could get that going. We redecorated the whole place. We changed up the colors to really fit with the urban retreat. My wife and I actually built custom furniture for our relaxation room, so it would be a perfect room, because that room had a lot of weird corners. So we built out these benches and things like that. We did everything we could to prepare ourselves. I mean, the first 2 days, it was really bad. Like, I was depressed. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Yeah. But then after the depression hits you, it's like, okay, well, I can't sit here and cry.
Step back and have a look at it a different way.
Yeah. So it was at that moment, they're like, okay, what can we do? Let's get this. And so the day that we reopen, we're going to be better than ever before and use it as a blessing.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. So what would you advise as a new business owners who just starting up?
I would figure out how. I would spend the most entire time figuring out how you're going to get new customers. Because if you can figure out that problem on how to get new customers, and whatever it is, it could be social media, it could be Instagram, it could be Groupon. Every single channel works for some people. So whatever works for you, figure it out. Because once you can create a channel of marketing that will get you new clients, everything else becomes easier. Once you know that you're going to get from, and I'm going to use this as an example, Groupon. If you know every single month Groupon sends you 30 clients, well, then you know that you can retain those clients. You know you can build your business. It's really hard to grow a business if you don't have new clients coming in, because ultimately you're retaining, but you're not having enough coming in, and you might lose some, and you kind of stay at the same point. But once you can figure out a way, anyway, whether that's Facebook groups, Instagram, Groupon, Google AdWords, Facebook ads, any one of those are my top five. Then you can unlock your business, because then you can control how much you grow or not. If you need more customers, you open up the floodgates. If you don't, you close them down.
Yeah. No, really, really good tips. So can you share, from your experience and a couple of mistakes new businesses do, and how to fix them?
So I'm going to go against the grain on this one of them. And this one is going to be an unpopular belief in the group, and I'm going to go with it for a second. So I think a lot of businesses, sometimes when they get into it, especially for the massage side, they want to grow their own practice, but they forget that there's certain steps, like that your customer is the one who's paying you. And so a lot of times we look at things and we try and help ourselves, but in reality, we make the customer pay. And so what I'm going to say about this, for example, there's two different ones. I see sometimes therapists say that they want to save money on credit card processing, that 3%, and because they don't want to pay that 3%. But they don't realize that they're actually making it easier for the customer to pay. And when it's easier for the customer to pay, they're more likely to pay. Another one would be, for example, to force everybody to do online booking. Unfortunately, no matter how great technology gets, online booking should be an assistance. It shouldn't be the end all be all. I can tell you from my business, over 70% of my business came from a phone call. 30% came from online. So if I turned off phone calls, 70% of the business would be gone. So it is a challenge, especially if you're a solo practitioner, solo therapist, or maybe a team of two. But whatever you're doing, remember who's paying you, and just remember, make it as easy as possible for them to become a customer. Because if you make it hard for them, they're not going to try and figure it out. They're going to go to somebody else. You know, if I'm calling you for a massage and you don't pick up, and I'm driving, I'm not going to sit there and try and fill out an online booking form because I really need to book with you. I'm just going to go back to Google, find the next business, call them, and I'll keep calling them because I'm driving until somebody says, yes, I can take your appointment. And so you have to kind of sit there and sometimes put yourself in the customer's shoe and understand what they're experiencing to make it better for them to have an easier experience.
Very, very good tips. The same, like exactly, you know, especially we're living into these days, everyone just want to make things happen now, easy, straight away, and straightforward. An example is like Amazon. Amazon just puts, you know, the buy buttons all over their place. So just for the customers, the journey of the customer from the point when they log in and just, you know, to buy the product is just the easiest and possible. And that's the same should be with our massage business. Before I had idea to put the online booking system there, which just kind of I was thinking to make it will make my strategy, my business more productive, more easier. It didn't happen, and lots of clients, they still want this. Especially as a mobile massage therapist, they want to hear you, they want to get to know you. So it's the better, the more booking was when there was this conversation first in such, so they can just get to know me, say, you know, just I kind of prepare them for what's happening. So make this process as much easier as possible to bring.
Absolutely. There's a lot of studies done on it. A lot of people still, as much as people want online booking, we have to remember that not everybody is like you, like me, like the therapist listening, that they might not be technically inclined. Or like you said, they might have questions. You know, if somebody's calling from your website, it means that you haven't answered everything on their website. And so maybe your payment system, maybe your online booking is confusing. I've seen MindBody, customers who use MindBody, it will actually force a person to register an account and add a credit card before they even let you see the calendar. Now, if I'm a client, if I'm a new client, existing clients is a whole different ballgame. You can kind of cut corners
on them.
You shouldn't, but you can. You can kind of say, okay, look, if you're an existing client, you have to book online. But new client, if I'm a new client and I come to your website and I'm ready to book, and I go to your booking page, and in this example, MindBody, and you ask me to create an account, I might do it. If you tell me to put a credit card on file, but you won't even show me your calendar, I'm not going to do it, because if you don't have the appointments available that I want, I'm going to be mad that I had to put a credit card on file. And so you're going to kill yourself. So it's like a lot of times as great as online booking is, you kind of want to sit there and go, is this the right thing for my clients? Not for you. You don't want to ask if it's the right thing for you, but you have to ask, is this the right thing for my new clients?
That's a good question. I actually worked with the MindBody for a while, and I'm kind of decided not to go with them just because of the couple of things which they offer, and which wasn't happy for me and for my clients. That's why I decided not to go with them. So let's move on to the next question, because it's kind of really at the point where in your life, where are you today? Because that's what exactly happens. Because you woke up like that, if you woke up tomorrow morning, but you still possess all the experience and knowledge you currently have, but your business completely disappear, forcing you to start from the scratch, what would you do?
So I think the way we grew Mosaic, I absolutely loved it. And so we started off, I as the business owner, you know, we have one huge advantage that I can't actually do the services. So I was the receptionist the whole entire time. But I would do the growth of the business the exact same way. The very first thing I did for the first 3 to 6 months was a Groupon. Groupon is a great way to get customers in the door if you figure out your retention strategies right off the bat. For example, if they're checking out, this is my favorite way to retain a Groupon customer. It's, hey, did you want to schedule your next massage in 4 or 6 weeks? Not a, would you like to reschedule? Just a 4 or 6 weeks. If they agree, you've got them at full price. Now, a lot of times they won't agree right off the bat because taking somebody from $40 for something to $80, it's a really big jump.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what I would do is, oh, wait a minute, Shush, I saw that you were on a Groupon special. I got a really great offer for you. If you rebook today, I can not do that massage for $40, but for $49. Did you want to go ahead and get that penciled in for 4 or 6 weeks? So I bumped them up $10. The next time they come in, I keep increasing their money until they become full paying customers. I ease them into it. Or I sell them a package of 3, like, oh, hey, Chris, I know you were on that Groupon. If you loved our services today, I would love to sell you 5 massages at the exact same price as Groupon if you buy today, but it's only today.
Yeah.
And so I get cash flow. I get a customer that becomes consistent. 5 visits is enough time for them to develop a habit. It's enough time for them to convert into a customer. That should at least if you do one of those 2 things, you should get about 30 to 40% retention.
To get you started, yeah.
Yep. From there, I would take the cash flow from the Groupon series sales or cash flow that's coming in from the business from rebooks and upsells and things like that. I would then invest into Google AdWords. That was my favorite place to play. I would spend probably $3,500 a month. That whole post is on Reddit too, how to exactly do it. And I would use that because AdWords I can turn on and off whenever I need. So if I'm really filled up for the weekend, I just turn it off for 3 or 4 days. If I slow back down, I turn it back on. So it's a nice floodgate. I can turn it back on and open. But most importantly, once I would have those 2 new channels figured out, because those are my 2 best channels, I would really focus on creating a simple menu with an easy way to upgrade in room, so extra $10, $20 because those drive a lot of revenue. And 2, I would make sure my retention strategy is on point because the difference a great retention strategy has versus no retention strategy on a business, it's really cool because if I know that 50% of my customers are coming back, I can spend more money on marketing because I know over the course of the next 12 months, I'm going to make a lot more money.
Yeah.
If I can't spend a lot of money if it's a one-time client and I'm only going to make $10 profit off of them, I can't do it. But if I know that they're going to come 12 times, well, now that profit's $120. So I can spend $30, $40 to get that new customer.
Yeah, really, really good tips. Thank you for sharing that. So the next part is all about you. So here we will have a moment to get promotion of our guest. The courses, book, practice, anything they like to share. So we will give you a little bit of the freestyle time.
All right. Well, I'm actually launching right now, boostmyspa.com. We want to take a different approach to how websites are done. Right now, if you are in the market for a website or you have a website that you feel isn't performing, you can pretty much go one of 2 ways, which is Wix, Weebly, a free platform where you have to put it together yourself, or you pay an expert to do it for you. And the reality is a website is more than just an online presence. A website is the foundation. As we were talking earlier, it can be the difference between having a great practice and a struggling practice, because if your website isn't optimized for the customer, then they're going to struggle to book, they're not going to do it, and they're not going to become customers. Over the years, I have studied marketing inside and out, and I've pretty much have a formula that I know works for our industry. So our goal with Boost My Spa is to take away the headache of websites from you, put it onto us. We'll give you working templates customized to your business. We will use all of our proprietary software that helps create more customers from your visitors, and it's just $99 a month.
Brilliant. So the next part is our game, Tag the Guest game. So we're going to ask you, who do you admire and why? Can you help us get a recommendation for upcoming interview with me here at BusyHive.co.uk podcast?
So one of the guys that I was one of my mentors before I even got into the business is Andy Black. He's from Ireland. When it comes to local AdWords, I don't think there's a guy who's got a better strategy in place. The amount of level and the amount of spend he's done in his life is just phenomenal. And the things that he taught me when I was back 4 or 5 years ago, before I knew anything about AdWords, really laid the foundation for my success in AdWords. Most importantly, he teaches you how to do a one-to-one. And what do I mean by this is, if somebody is looking for a sports massage, if you go to Google right now and you type in sports massage London or something like that, wherever your city is, you will see that most of the ads do not mention the word sports. Some will, most won't. Furthermore, if you click that ad, even if they mention it, most people won't actually send you to a specific page about sports massages. And that's where most of the money is wasted. If you knew that your customers wanted sports massages, you put that keyword into AdWords, you built an ad for that word, so sports massages London, first time guest, 15% off, and then you took them to a page that said the exact same words again, you would have amazing return on investment. And that's what he taught me, and he's been my mentor for so many years with AdWords.
Thank you for recommending, and Andy, we will be in touch with you very, very soon. So the last more thing, if you had just one thing for our listeners to take out of this episode, what would it be?
There's one thing to take away from this podcast, from this episode, is you can do this. You just have to set the goals that you want to achieve, and you can push. It is going to be a journey. I am not going to lie to you. It is a fun journey. There are days where you want to give up, and there's days where you're sitting in Spain soaking up the sun going, wow, I did it. Maybe it's something else for you, but it is possible. We transformed a day spa that was failing into one of the greatest day spas in the city. We did it in 3.5 years. So whatever your goals are, put them down on paper, work towards them, work from your goal backwards, and make it a journey and enjoy it. It is a journey, so just make sure you enjoy it.
Brilliant, thank you. So how can we connect with you online?
BoostMySpa.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Robert Norberciak. Feel free to send me a message. I am almost always available through Facebook Messenger, or you can reach us on BoostMySpa.com.
And obviously, we're going to put all the details down in the show notes. Robert, thank you for inspiration. Thank you for sharing your journey through, and it was really inspiring. We're going to put all the show notes. If you have any questions to Robert, just contact him directly. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and thank you for joining me here. And we're definitely gonna chat very, very soon.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
Bye bye.